Don't answer that question.
Now, can I check all the above?
I don't want you to. I didn't give you. There were no boxes. You have no marker. Please put your pen down. Do not check the boxes. Allow me to talk about myself. You know what? Today we have a really special show. First of all, if you don't adjust your cameras, we know that this is supposed to be Girl Talk, co-hosted with Lalah Hathaway. And ladies and gentlemen, Lalah, Dave. Before we even get into mood music, please tell everybody what the hell you're doing here. Why are you here?
You know what? If I revealed the real reason why I'm here, I might just go straight to the doghouse. So I don't know if I'm willing to do that. That's kind of self-incrimination.
It's
not
not yourself
cool.
In the doghouse. I dare you.
No. But I'm in town, so I'm here. It's the Marla and Dave show.
Yes. Also with we have a special guest today, Tomiko Fraser Hines and Lalah. But in the meantime, Tony, let's talk about my mood. Hook me up.
But it's making me weak. I'm not your superwoman.
Oh yeah, so you're not a superwoman.
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm not the kind of girl that you can let down and think that everything's okay. Boy, I am
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
so what are you, James Ingram?
Well,
now?
no, I'm just, that was a good song. I liked it back in the day.
What you got, Dave? What you got?
Tony, hit me.
This is a man's world.
Okay.
That's right.
This is a man's world.
That's why I'm here.
Okay.
nothing.
I'm
Talking about girl talk.
Without a woman.
But I acquiesce. See what he said? It's a man's world, but it's nothing without a woman or a girl.
I'm so remiss, everybody, right now that I don't have the wig that I intended to make Dave wear to participate in this Girl Talk chat today. We have a great show today, and wow, so much information. Not only I'm learning myself, but Tomiko is here to share her story and her journey, really, of infertility and what's happening with women, what choices they have after 40 when they find out, wait a minute, getting pregnant isn't so easy. So I'm looking to be informed because I really feel like I was kind of born pregnant. I don't know what that is, but
That'll be rough.
yeah, having a baby at 19, 21, and the third at 24. Now when I look around at my peers and contemporaries, I realize I was absolutely a little infantile child trying to mother. But there's pros and cons.
Well, you know what? I'm just going to kind of take a back seat today since this actually is girl talk. And I was just joking about being a man's world because I still have to go home. So Tomiko Fraser Hines and Lalah, and you will actually talk about what's going on. Lalah!
Hello, we got our girl in the house.
Hey, Steph. And you know what? We got people coming in. It's going to be a fun show. Remember, 323-284-7826 is the number to call into the show. We really want to hear from you today.
And what I would like to ask everyone who's listening at this exact moment, everyone knows that a woman's fertility timer stops ticking at 40. Tell me, why are so many women still willing to play Russian roulette with childbirth? If you're a woman who's had a baby after 35, I would love for you to call in at that number, and we want to hear what made you wait until the 11th hour at 323-284-7826. Call into the Marla and Dave show and talk to us right away.
You're listening to the Marla and Dave radio show on the Universal Broadcast Network. Current events, pop culture, the hot topics of the day. It's time for Mad News on the Marla and Dave radio show. Ladies and gentlemen, Marla and Dave.
We're going to talk today in our Mad News. What, David, you're here. Don't just, here's what's popping. Oh no, I know.
Yeah.
Well, he's wearing a prosthetic vagina. It's fine.
I'm talking up high. I always wear my prosthetic vagina. Anyway.
I'd like to ask a quick question today to both of you about today's news story. I'm going to give you 3 quotes, and I want you to tell me quickly the first thing that comes to your mind, based on Niecy Nash's interview with the Playboy magazine
and her book, Hard to Fight Naked.
It's Hard to Fight Naked. Here's the first quote: "A blowjob a day keeps the divorce attorney away." First response.
I'm single.
First response.
I'd have to agree with that.
Okay, first response, Tomiko.
lockjaw.
Okay. Here's another one. Stomach full, penis empty. A woman's guide to a happy marriage. Quick, first response, each of you.
Add an Xbox, and I think that's true.
I hope they've eaten pineapple.
Again, Niecy Nash is a genius.
Last question. Last quote. Women are more generous with oral sex because we nurture by nature. First response.
No.
Some things need to change.
Well, 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Here's my response. Niecy Nash loves penis. It's not about her husband, honey poo. It's about you. And you
got a
love
healthy
the
appetite.
penis.
Healthy
Yeah,
appetite.
you know, I kind of want to be a fly on the wall in Niecy Nash's house. I'll be honest with you.
I don't think you do, Dave.
No.
You have a lot of fluids on you as a fly. You'll be stuck like
Well,
a
she have a lot of fluids on her. Anyway, back to the show.
This ain't your mama's radio show. Can you handle the truth? Then get ready for a real radio experience. Ladies and gentlemen, Marla and Dave.
So we asked the question, are women waiting until they're over 40 to consider having children as an afterthought, or have they been misinformed? And before we even get started, Tomiko, officially welcome to the Marla and Dave Show.
Thank you very much. I didn't know we could say penis. I'm excited.
You can't, if this were
Yes,
something
it's very
X-rated,
exciting.
we might even use the word.
Oh. Wow.
But
okay.
today here, we're going to keep it very anatomically textbook correct. But I know that you posted online when we're all here doing Girl Talk, and I know that we have two very different scenarios represented here. So you actually have a journey and a story of your infertility and where you are in actually having your two beautiful boys, which
They're gorgeous.
Thank
yes,
you.
we're going to show you pictures of them, and you're going to let us know. But first, let me get a brief history of how we got here.
Okay, well, there's no brief about it, but
Okay.
I will cut it short because it was definitely a 6-year journey. But basically, never got pregnant, never had any accidents prior to getting married. Got married late in life, in quotes, at 38. We started trying right away, and I wasn't getting pregnant. And it wasn't until then that I found out that I have what runs in my family are autoimmune diseases, and mine was premature ovarian failure. So basically, I was in early menopause. We tried for 6 years. Because I'm stubborn and I'm a Taurus, I'm from the Bronx, I don't take no for an answer. So I was like, the doctor said, you have to use a donor egg from visit 1. And I said, you don't know me. I tried things. So anyway, long story short, we ended up using an anonymous egg donor. And now we are the proud and extremely tired parents of 22-month-old twin boys, Bryce and Kaden.
Awesome.
So
awesome.
I want to let me ask right quick about the donor egg. That's interesting, and how Layla and I this is supposed to be a
Not supposed to be. It is.
Okay.
Layla is the host of the
Dave.
Marla and Dave show today.
Not really, though, because
The
Dave's still in the host chair.
yeah. The minute that a penis shows
This
up,
is so
it just
far
kinda
away. I thought
He's
you'd be
still
more
in
comfortable
control.
over there. No,
neutralizes.
control.
It's just it's not right. Anyway, Layla. So Layla and I, as friends, were chatting, and we were just talking about the landscape now with so many women and peers running into, for various reasons, similar problems. But leading up to that, one of the things that I said to Layla, I said, we should chat about this because we're in discovery. She's giving me information, and I'm discovering stuff that I had no idea even existed, because I do feel like I was a little girl who kind of
You were.
had little girls.
You were.
And a boy.
Yeah.
But anyway, so one of the things when we were talking, and before Layla got here, I was saying to you, I don't know if our audience knows this, but they won't freeze a female egg after the age of 30. They're most viable between the ages of 20 and 30. Who knew?
Yeah. And they're actually really viable at age like 14.
Well, yeah.
They're brand new then.
They're brand new.
They're brand-
they're brand new when you
With
get
the
here.
tags on them.
Yeah,
But
I
it's
think you're
really-
born with eggs. So
Yeah,
I
you're
mean,
born
you
with
know.
eggs.
And you're
You-
born with a finite number of eggs.
Well, now Layla said to me at one point, she did call me with that one, and she said, did you know? And I said, well, yeah, I kind of knew that, which is why girls, whenever you have your cycle, you have one egg that releases, where boys are putting their semen in socks and on the walls and
Wow.
in pillowcases, and
Oh,
they can
wow.
waste it. They're
Yeah,
like,
we try to freeze them early, but
they're
to look
flushing them
forward
down
to
the
with two sons.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just letting you know,
Yeah.
Tomiko. You just you never know what's going to go on with that. So in this journey, I guess what I really want to know from both of you, and I'm going to start with you, Tomiko, is did you ever feel as a woman who chose first to have a career, were you encouraged to just wait? No big deal. You'll have kids later. Or was it your choice?
I don't know if it was really a choice as opposed to just the way things ended up. I mean, I've been modeling forever. I dated, and I didn't find the man of my reality, I call him, until I was in my mid to late 30s. So, you know, I just didn't see getting pregnant earlier because it didn't happen. So I just waited until we got married, and it just so happened to be that I was later in life, later in my reproductive years, I should say. So it wasn't, oh, I'm going to have my career, oh, I'm going to do this later, I'm going to make a choice. No, it was like, okay, I found this amazing man, now let's have some babies.
Right.
And it wasn't happening right away.
Was there a moment of panic, or did you just feel like this is kind of just what everybody was there something in you that knew? That's my real question.
Well, I'll tell you this. It's interesting you asked that because my husband Chris and I did a lot of email corresponding. We still communicate via email, text, and all that. And I have an email prior to us getting married saying, listen, we have to step this up because heaven forbid we try and I can't get pregnant. And that's me not knowing anything about my infertility, anything like that. So I bring that up every once in a while when I'm trying to like just nudge him a little bit. But even if we would have tried earlier, this was something that I had going on, my diminished egg viability. So it wouldn't have mattered if we tried. You know, if I tried, maybe I've had this since I was in my 20s. I just never knew.
No way to know.
Now I know that you know I'm
David
not
is
supposed
raising
to be,
his hand.
Yeah,
There he goes.
I'm trying to do the courteous thing. But just to jump in there, you said that it runs in your family though, so no one else had shown any signs of?
No, well, autoimmune issues show up different ways. My sister passed away from lupus. I have an aunt that passed away from scleroderma. So autoimmune issues just show up differently. So mine, I was like, ooh, I missed the lupus boat, thank goodness, and then find out that I was dealing with premature ovarian failure. And you know what, Dave? I'm actually glad you're here because we talk about the women's perspective all the time.
Yeah.
But the men, I'm sorry, Marla. I don't know what I just did.
It was so nice of
But
you.
it's really great to have men here to be a part of the conversation as well, because more times than not, the men are also going through the journey, the struggle, the challenge as well.
Right. Well, yes. I mean, you know, whether you know him or not, it is the sperm comes from a he, he. So, you know, and so Lalah, let's jump over to your discovery of just, yes. Let's just you and I have a quick girl talk.
Well, my journey is very different than Tomiko's journey. I don't even feel like I have a journey yet. I'm on my way to the journey, but I think that I am like a lot of women who went to college and had a career, and just like you say, you know that book, that old book, I Forgot to Have Children.
Oh yeah.
And so you get to a certain point, there's a confusion with all of it. At this point, do I actually want children? There's so many questions about it. Would I want to use an egg? Would I feel like the children would be less mine? There are all of these questions, which are the things that I always wanted to talk to you about.
And I'm right here.
Yeah. And I mean, there's so much getting to the journey that it's a really deep thing. And I think a lot of women in this kind of 35 to 45 and 50 age bracket really, my question for you is, do you feel like the choice that you made in terms of having the donor egg, well, obviously you love your boys, but do you feel like the boys do you feel like they're yours in that way?
I love you for
Is there any other way to feel like that?
I love these questions. This is the reason why I speak out as publicly as I do, because there are so many unanswered questions, and they're all legitimate questions.
Right.
I mean, I will, to be honest, and my boys will know this when they get older, I was a wreck my entire pregnancy thinking that I wasn't going to bond with them. Even though they're in my body,
Really?
even though I'm carrying them, my blood and my whole, everything is building
They're kicking
them.
your butt. You
Yes,
see
and
feet
doing,
sticking out.
You
Like,
don't
I'm
even
not bonding with you,
understand.
foot.
I have video of, you don't even know. Anyway, but it troubled me. It troubled me. Like, I mean, are these really my children? I had to mourn my genetics. I mean, there's so
many
much to
stages
go
on.
on.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a minute. I'm kind of cute. I want to pass this on. And that was vain, but that was true. You know what I mean? And I don't get to pass that on. So
And even past that, what I'm told is sometimes, and particularly in the African American community, you may not even see who the eggs come from.
Well, my experience was I needed to see who this
I would
person was.
imagine.
I didn't meet her. It was anonymous. I don't know her name. She doesn't know who we are. But I did pick somebody that had my
Resemble your
kind of
characteristics.
Was there
resemble-
any
Yeah.
fear of being tricked? Maybe I'm cynical,
did
but
get
my,
tricked
I'm telling
just
you,
recently.
I
and
saw
they're
that.
suing
Yeah.
because there is a story recently where the lady after which if you're listening to the Marla and Dave show, why the hell did you wait so long?
Oh.
But there's someone who's suing because she's Caucasian
Mm-hmm.
and she's got an African American baby because she got a donor. So, you know, that's one of the things. I'm gonna go out right quick before we'll be right back with more from Tomiko and Lalah. But this is a research fact. In 2010, the U.S. birth rate for females ages 15 to 19 years had decreased 45% since 1991.
That makes sense.
So that's 61.8 in 1991 to a 34.2 in 2010.
gonna get
So
lower,
it's
too.
getting lower. So that means women are waiting. And I just want to know why. Do you know why? Call me right now. I'm not pointing. You're not here.
Call her.
I'm pointing to the thing.
Call her. She'll get mad. Trust me.
Call me. I want to know. So we'll be right back.
Hey guys, listen up. Learn something. 26 years of marriage from two unique perspectives equals 52 years of relationship
God.
experience.
There's that
It's
stat
time
again.
for Ask Marla and Dave. Answers to your questions about life, love, and relationship based on Marla and Dave's real life experience.
2 minutes.
It's about to get real.
Go.
Ask
there.
Marla and Dave.
All right, it's time for Ask Marla and
Oh,
Dave.
Dave, what would happen if you weren't here? Would it be Ask Marla twice?
No, it'll be Ask Marla and Dave with Lalah.
Okay, yay. Okay, so here's the Ask Marla and Dave question this week. It says, I've been taught that passion is the glue in every great relationship. I have been passively involved in 3 relationships in my life, and none of them have lasted or resulted in marriage. Am I missing something? What am I missing?
Well, you know what? You didn't even want to say it, it seemed like. She's been passionately, or he or she, I assume it's a she, passionately involved in 3 relationships in life. What are you missing? And I disagree with the premise. Passion is not the glue of a relationship. Friendship is the glue of a relationship.
Dave, dang it. We can't have the same answer? Okay, here's the thing, everybody. Friendship is the real glue in the relationship.
Yes. Ask
Dave's
Marla
not
and
here.
Dave with Marla and Lalah.
And so, yes, and I want to refocus everybody seriously. And when you approach a relationship, you know, my rule is when you're dating, initially expect nothing. When you're married, expect change. So that's what I say. Because if you really want to know who someone is, don't give them a laundry list of requirements to meet up front. Give them the room to be able to be themselves so you can see who it is and you can fall in love with something authentic versus this fantasy in your mind. Dave is not here. It's
You
a
heard it
fantasy
from Marla.
in my mind.
Back to the show.
Welcome back to the Marla and Dave radio show. Marla and Dave want to talk to you. Phone lines are open at 323-284-7826. 323-284-7826.
Now, before I say, you know, the question, ask the question really, you know, with all the abandoned kids in the world, why not just adopt a child?
That's a good question.
Versus, you know, work so hard at getting an egg and all the rest of that stuff, freezing eggs and not freezing eggs. And that seems like a lot of hassle when you can just, hey, kid who needs love, I'm here for you.
Do you have children of your own?
I do. As a matter of fact, I want to say hello to my daughter, Drew. We call her Lexi. She's in the chat room now. And she says, don't have kids, we're a curse.
Yeah, I'd also like
Now, I
to.
know she's a jokester, so take everything she says with
Lexi,
the
you are
grain.
the exact reason why people want to have kids. Just
Oh,
by
that's so sweet.
Layla has always loved you. Why?
I'm in the circle of love, in the circle of trust.
And Marla, people are saying your hair looks fabulous. I just want to say
is
musical
super
Chili.
cute.
Chili is saying all you guys look great. And hello,
Thanks.
Tomiko and Layla.
Hi.
Dave, okay, before we even, I want to get to what Tomiko was about to ask us, but since you're not really here, but you are here, so now I've shown you, I've shown you 3 different hairstyles in the last 3 weeks. Pick one. Do it now.
You know what? Your hair looks different now than it did when you left this morning.
Dude, just pick a style.
I think I'm going with the short one, though.
The natural, my own hairstyle, or the colored weave thing, or the braid thing.
This
just
is really
confused
cute.
me. This is really cute.
This is
and
super
you're
cute.
going through like a 40s into a, I don't know what era to put you in, but it's awesome. I love it.
Really
Okay.
cute.
Is there a way for me to mess that up?
There will be no Niecy
That was good.
Nash.
That was
Back
good.
to
That was
Tomiko.
good.
So, Tomiko, what you were about to ask.
No, I just wanted to finish that question about did I ever feel like I wasn't going to bond with the kids? Absolutely, yes. And the second that they were born, that went out the window.
Well, I wasn't asking if you felt like you were going to bond. I was asking more, did you have any misgivings about who they were? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who are they?
Well, yes, and that continues, and I think that will continue for the rest of our lives together. I'll always know how they were conceived,
Right.
but I will also know who I am and who my husband is and what we did and how we have nurtured these children. So, there's all kinds of questions that come with it, and it's not for the faint of heart, but it also is worth every thought, tear, confusion once they get here. That's
Yeah.
my opinion.
Wow. Well, and when you say that, Lalah, as someone who had my children naturally, when I say naturally, without any type of in vitro
None?
or what?
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, no, yeah, none of them. Yeah, no. That's a good point. Again, this is such a learning ground for me that I'm excited to hear all of this information because most people aren't considering. Drew, my 21-year-old, is in the chat room, and let me just tell both of you, after the very last conversation I had with Lalah, I went on a rampage. I called my friend in Hawaii, and I said, well, how old is your daughter? Isn't she about to turn 29? Call her immediately and tell her to freeze her eggs. I got on the phone with Lexi. I talked to Lexi's friends, one of them who does my makeup on a regular basis. And I'm like, hey, go and freeze your eggs. Like, that scared me because in reality, and I'm talking to you, Drew Alexis Thomas, she too is a very career-driven, independent personality. And I think before you know it, you look up and it's your
Goes quick.
options are limited
Your
and you
options
don't
are
even
limited.
know
Yeah.
that they're limited.
Right.
So were you go ahead, Dave.
Well, no, see, go ahead and ask your question because I got something
Well, no,
else
what
to say.
I was going to say is when we got pregnant with our firstborn, which was DJ, we never considered, like Lalah saying, who they are. Well, duh. They're going to be a variation, personality-wise, appearance-wise, of me and you and our families. So when the baby was born and they pulled him out, and David was all proud, and she said, well, what? Oh, my God, he's so cute, the doctor. What are you going to name him? And David said, David, of course. So you know what I'm saying? Like, in other words, you have a different...
Dave's such a man. Getting on our nerves. Yeah.
I'm glad you're not a beer drinker. You'd be smashing cans over your head right about now. But anyway, so yes, so those things are very interesting to me as well because now you have these children, and now let me ask this: so that you get a donor egg or eggs, and you actually go and you fertilize the egg outside the body, and then it's implanted, but the sperm belongs to your husband.
Yes, well, it's actually follicles. It's very medical and
Okay.
and all that stuff. But it is a combination of the anonymous egg donor's contribution and my husband's sperm mixed together, and they sit and be in a petri dish for a couple days, and then it is an implantation transfer, what they call it, and then hopefully they take, and they took, and they could have split, which I didn't know that, which I was saying I could have had two sets of twins.
Right.
I put in two because there's a chance that one won't take or both won't take. So we said, let's just put in two, and we realized that later, oh my goodness, they could have split. We could have 4. So that would have been a little
That happens
much.
a lot.
That's a lot of Pampers.
Yeah, a lot of
Trust me
Pampers,
when I say.
a lot of
Yeah.
Pampers.
Yes, and right now you might have a twitch, and that's not good in such a beautiful face for your eyes.
Oh no.
Halfway
No
through the
4,
interview
no
is
4,
not right.
no 4.
So I got a question for Lalah, though. That was what I was going to get to. When you talk about when I jokingly said, "Why not just adopt?"
Yeah.
And your experience is so much different from Tomiko's.
Right. I mean,
is that something that you've considered?
it's a possibility. I like you have never ever been pregnant, and it's a possibility. I may choose to adopt. I may choose to use an egg. I may steal some kids.
I want to know what happens. I want to know from both of you. I think I asked you this, Lalah, you in particular. I've known you for a long time.
Long
You are
time.
you
I was 12
are.
years old.
We're the same age. There was you're a very independent person. You have a huge career, huge persona. You love to have fun.
I do.
And so when was that moment where you said to yourself, you know what? Because when I met you,
Right.
if I said kids, you would have been like,
I
get
know.
your babies out of here.
You know, I think that there's a thing that happens to women whether they want children or not, that at some point your body begins to betray your mind and says, hey, what else are you going to do? What else are you here for if you're not going to do that? And so occasionally I have those feelings. I used to say as a kid, even 10, 15 years old, I won't have kids, but my sister will have kids, and they'll look like me, and they'll be like my kids. And I kind of feel like that when I look at my nieces. They look like me. You know what I mean?
They definitely do.
Yes. But it's interesting because there's so much ramping up to whether or not you even want to make that choice. There's so many things to consider. Like at times I wish I had got pregnant when I was 22 years old, because then I would have my children now. But there's so many things as you get older and start thinking and start moving into places, and you become a little more selfish, and you become a little more, you appreciate your life, and you can't imagine it any other way. So there are a lot of questions about whether or not you should even approach it. You know what I mean? There's questions.
Dave, there's a lot going on in the chat room.
I was going to say.
Can you please man the chat room?
Well,
since you're
Hula
not here?
Girl said aloha from Kauai.
Aloha.
Nikki Carr said that she's been telling all of her former students, I assume that she's a teacher, to freeze their eggs because she wouldn't want any of them going through what she's going through. She found out that she had an infertility issue as well. So, and I guess that piggybacks on what you were talking about, really. How awful does that feel to feel like, you know what, I got to make a choice between my career and being, what I feel like all women are made to do, bear children and be a mother, and then suddenly you find out, I made the wrong choice.
You can't be in two places at one time. That's what I really want to say. In other words, because a lot of sitting here speaking with you, and in all honesty, it's not just this conversation. I have come to a point probably 8 years ago, maybe even 10, where I had a lot of my thoughts that I have as a very, very young mother are almost disrespectful in this room, because I'm like, what was I thinking? If I could have waited, because I'm the other person. I'm the grass greener on the other side girl.
Right.
Because I was so young and none of it was a plan. It wasn't like, I'm going to buckle down.
The problem is that women are not educated about it. The problem is that we don't know when we're 20. You have a finite, we know. But it's not told to us in that way. If
you don't really think about it, is what it seems like.
You're not thinking about it. You're trying to have a career, and you're in a relationship. You're not in a relationship. You're trying to figure it out. And by the time you're 30, even your fertility starts to go down.
Well, maybe parents should be able to make the choice for their newborn daughters to freeze eggs right at birth. If you're born with the eggs anyway.
Can you do that?
No, the eggs aren't developed at that point. What the hell is wrong with you, Dave?
I thought you said you're born with them.
You're born, but they're not.
That's what happens when you have a prosthetic vagina. It's not an actual vagina, so you don't know. You got these little
It's called puberty.
plastic-looking things that might be eggs.
Anyway, ignore Dave's comment about baby eggs. When we come back, I would love again for anyone who's out there to call in. I want to hear from young mothers. Mothers, tell me what your biggest issue for you was in mothering at a really young age.
323-284-7826.
It's time for the Marla and Dave Doghouse. Marla has something that should put Dave in the doghouse. Dave has something that should put Marla in the doghouse. He decides who gets a biscuit, who gets busted, and ends up in the doghouse.
It looks like I'm already in the doghouse with my comments for today. What am I doing here?
I'm about to cry. Layla said put the whole baby in the freezer. Anyway,
in the freezer.
Dave's in the doghouse for asking the dumbest, making this most
When he said it, I had to think about it. It was really smart. I was like, what?
It's not that dumb, as you were saying. I don't know the research.
Okay.
But anyway, Marla, why am I in the doghouse?
Dave's in the doghouse today because Dave never knows his schedule, and I'm sick of this crap. Dave, you're not even supposed to be here right now. And you know what? Through all the years of our marriage, which is almost 27, Dave never knows where he's going, when he's coming back, only as it relates to me being inconvenienced and driving to the airport 50 times at the last minute. Yeah. Doghouse. Doghouse him.
Should Marla get the biscuit? Should Dave go in the doghouse? I say Marla goes in the doghouse for allowing me to be here today. She should have put her foot down. I did make the mistake. She should have said, no, Dave, you can't come today. It's Lalah and I and Tomiko.
How do you change all of the logo and take the Dave off the Marla and Dave show? That's a whole nother issue.
I said it's the Marla and Dave show with Lalah Hathaway.
Well, yeah, except we could have just slapped Layla's name right across and Marla.
Hey, you could. Hey, but anyway, that's my vote. I say Marla should have stuck to her guns and said, Dave, you're not coming today.
And Lexi, if you ask Lalah to be your mother one more time, and that happens,
that you can fix everything for me. Just when you finish at school, just come on.
No, take her now and pay the last month's lesson.
Layla's going to pay for that egg freezing, Lex. So she's your new mom. Hey, she's got one more semester of school to pay for. Fine.
All right, we'll be right back.
What's the action?
You'll laugh. You'll learn. You'll learn. You'll get mad.
Shut up!
You'll get happy. But you won't be bored. This is the Marla and Dave radio show on the Universal Broadcast Network.
So the question I'm going to ask you ladies is directly, what advice, now that you're here within this valley of, and for you, Tomiko, you've gone through and you're on the other side, but running into this issue, what advice would you give to your younger self and to those who are listening?
Well, I would definitely say be in constant conversation with your gynecologist, and even starting in your 20s, know what your levels are. I'm not sure of the actual numbers of if you have to get your eggs freezed by 30. I do know that the quality does decline after 30. So if you are someone that is career driven and want to wait till later in life to have your kids, then you should consider that. But just be informed. And Lalah was saying there's so much information out there, but we don't even think about it. And especially in the African American community, which is why I'm speaking out about it, there's still a shame and a guilt, and it's so secret. And people are suffering in silence, and they don't even know what their options are. Right. So my big thing was to be informed and to talk about it, because there's somebody in your circle that is dealing with it silently, I'm sure. And the two of you could, help each other out.
Yeah.
Right?
Go ahead, Larry.
I was going to say the same thing. It's just really so much about educating yourself. And as much as I did my yearly and I talked to my gynecologist, there are things that I did not know, and they will affect me for the rest of my life.
But what questions should they be asking? Are you asking?
Check your hormone levels. What are my hormone levels?
Yeah.
I don't know if they can test your egg quality, but I do know that they can test your hormone levels. Am I perimenopausal? What's
Right.
your family history?
Just the deeper than your
just go deeper than just to
exam.
see what your pap smear is and if you got some kind of yeast infection. I can say that, right?
What?
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
Yeast. You can say
Yeah.
yeast all day.
But
here.
really just, I mean, I can't say it enough. I'm working with Resolve, which is the premier infertility organization. I just did a documentary called Pushing Motherhood about women like ourselves that are finding ourselves in a position of trying to have children later in our reproductive years, and the ramifications of that. We are not talking about it, and we need to talk about it. So just get informed.
The other thing is, in Hollywood, a lot of times, you see like,
Oh, yeah.
this one's 67 and had twins,
Yes.
or you know what I mean. And a lot of times, you sort of fall prey to that kind of propaganda about your reproductive health.
Right.
And so it's really a sort of global education about your reproductive health.
Now, Lalah, you touched on something. You said you were going to your gynecologist regularly.
Mm-hmm.
Is this a new phenomenon, so to speak? Because wouldn't your doctor say, you know what, if you haven't had kids yet, Lay, so
No, because
if you're going to, you either have them now or you're going to run out of time.
Well, they started telling me that when I turned 40. You know what I mean? And by
But
that
what you're
ti-
saying, it's late.
Absolutely. By that time, it's very late. And I'm not even sure, what the case might have been had I tried earlier. But I was always flying in from a gig to go to my pap smear and flying out to another gig and having seemingly things to do. And
can
so
I just,
it wasn't,
Can I jump in right here with just this moment of actual real girl talk? I have to put my hand down because I also want my audience to be included. What? The gynecologist? Holy smoke. I laughed. I was just
What?
the reason that, Dave, you don't know how uncomfortable it is to talk about anything outside of this exam going on. What is the deal? I have like this gynecologist. When I go to see my gynecologist, there's this whole routine and ritual, and this. I'm like, dude, you're sitting here talking to me right now, and I'm dressed in paper.
Yeah.
Please, can I?
And
can I
part of
put
me's not dressed at
and
all.
And he's like, oh, don't worry, I won't hurt you. And he's, opening up and doing all this stuff, and I'm like, so. How about those Cowboys, huh?
Yeah. The nature of it is not,
It's so
it's not a very
intrusive.
warm conversation.
But
Yeah,
then
but,
that's
but it's their job, though,
Yeah, that's
to
their-
inform you. That's I would think.
agree.
And
I'm
then
not
women
mad,
and
but-
women getting comfortable with their body. This is what happens. You have one of those, and it has to be checked. And
Right.
this is
But
what
we
I
the
did. I
medicine
actually,
does.
Tomiko did. Honestly, I did. When I was so mad at mine on the last visit, which was recently in the last 2 weeks, I asked for a new vagina. I said, I don't want to deal with this one anymore. Can I just have a new one?
Can I be part of the
He's
design?
got a prosthetic one. He said.
And I will tell you this.
I kind of like the one we have now.
In case,
He said we.
yeah, like he wants to keep the model.
Hula Girl says not all women are meant to be moms.
Exactly.
Is that actually something you guys ascribe to?
I
Absolutely.
Think so. Yeah.
I mean, listen, I'm a girl's girl. I'm a goddess, but I call myself a goddess. And I think women have infinite choices. And if they want to be moms, don't want to be moms, want to have kids, whatever, it's up to them. There's nothing that says they have to. But if they want to and they are putting their careers at the forefront, they just need to know what their options are.
Well, Dave's premise, honestly, since he's here, is that women are just people who can't make their minds up, and we want our cake and we want to eat it too.
He's trying to start a fight.
That's what...
Quite honestly, I do kind of say that only because, and this is why it's confusing for...
She said...
I'll speak for all men. The reason why that's confusing to us is because at first you want to, do your careers and do everything that you want to do, but then at the end of the day, you feel like, oh man, I'm missing something.
Well, but that's
Kinda rile me
natural.
up.
That's
Okay,
natural.
so is that all women, do you think? And I know you can't speak for all women. Are there some women who say, man, I just have no maternal instinct whatsoever?
There are some women that feel that way, and there are some women that want to be mothers but not necessarily carry or be pregnant. There are so many ways.
options,
yeah,
right.
there's so many ways to approach the whole thing, to approach the journey.
And it's the nature of being feminine, David Reginald Thomas. The issue is that women are our
That's
jobs.
all three names.
So I'm right, is what you're
That's
saying.
his government name.
No, what I'm saying is it's not a mental situation, and this is on the serious. These two ladies and myself, we're born someone's daughter. We ultimately becomes someone's wife in a lot of cases.
If you choose.
And again, you don't have the choice. You don't have a choice to have a baby or not.
It's true.
So what I'm saying to you is that there's a natural evolving nature in a woman. She's designed to change.
Yeah.
She's designed to evolve. So the fact that we have these choices is not because we're superior,
I think
Dave.
Tomiko's
You're
feeling sorry for
one-dimensional.
me.
No, I'm not.
Oh, she's not. Oh.
Stepped right in that one yourself.
I tried.
You
I
brought the
tried.
Bronx out. I'm holding myself up. I'm like this.
Well, Nikki Carr Smile in the chat room says she's so thankful to organizations like Resolve.
Yes.
Hi,
Hi, Nikki. I recognize your name from Facebook,
okay.
Twitter.
She says
and all
there are
that
very
stuff.
few organizations to be quite as helpful, especially to women of color.
Absolutely.
Why are we making a difference? Tell me what
I was
is
gonna
that right
say.
quick? What is a white egg better than a black egg?
No.
Well, I don't think there's a better than, but I know in just the little bit of research that I've done that there aren't as many African American donors, correct?
Not as many African American donors, not as many African American people talking about it. It's like I said, it goes back to the shame and the guilt. I can't speak for the white community. I just know when I was in my fertility clinic, everybody was in there with their head down, and not that we should be having a party, but there's got to be some hope. There's got to be something.
Right.
And in the black community, I find that we just don't talk about it.
Right.
We're supposed to be reproductive mamas, and we're supposed to be able to do everything and
mamas.
withstand everything.
Yeah.
And when we have these issues, we feel like something is wrong with us. And if it's a religious thing, maybe I'm being punished or something.
I
have
can't.
no idea.
I would be remiss though not to ask this question and to get this response, even if you have to finish this up when we get back. Is it a socioeconomic issue? How expensive
I was
is
say
it
the exact same
to
thing.
actually undergo any type of infertility solution, especially when you're talking about in vitro? How much money are we
also,
investing?
It's pretty easy to donate some sperm.
Oh.
Thanks, Dave.
I don't think it would be quite as easy to donate an egg. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's true.
And do you have to pay for that? Does the donor pay?
It is very expensive, but there are options now as far as grants and loans and payment plans. There
You
are
can
ways.
put an egg on layaway now.
Pretty much.
But do I
Wow.
have to put my egg that I'm donating on layaway?
No, the donors they get highly screened and they are paid accordingly, and
The donors get paid.
donors get paid. Yes. The donors do get paid,
Wow.
absolutely. But yes, it is socioeconomic, and if you're in a lower, economic bracket, you may not have the availability, but you can seek it out because there are options. There definitely are options.
So there you have it. So when you're talking about that, all these things have to be considered. And I think that before somebody knows, the first thing you think is, man, I want to fix this problem, but it's so expensive. I know for me, those were things that would deter me and have me avoid a situation, because I just feel like I'm going to feel more hopeless
Right.
when I expose myself as someone who cannot be able to, that I can have children, but now also can't afford to go the proper routes and to conceive children, even if it is by using a donor egg. So when we come back, we're going to get more information and talk more with Lalah and Tomiko.
Our guest.
It's time to play the Marla and Dave Love Game. Here are Marla and Dave to explain how it works.
This is my favorite part.
Yeah, I was so into the Love Boat music for the Marla and Dave show. I almost forgot what I was doing here. The Love Game, the Mad Love Game, was a game created by Marla and I. It deals with the three most important aspects of any relationship: finances, communication, and sex. It's played by rolling a die that we had custom created. It has the MAD logo on it. That is the wild side. It has the money bag for money, quotation marks for communication, and of course the sex symbol. And we're going to have Tomiko actually roll the die to see what it lands on.
Right here?
Yeah.
And we'll go from there.
You guys have so much fun here.
Okay, I don't know.
Everybody
what that means.
blows, especially Niecy
Lose
Nash.
a turn.
Lose a turn. Layla?
Layla, roll the dice.
Ooh, I don't like this game.
They didn't catch that, Tony.
What?
I said everybody blows,
Oh,
especially
man.
Niecy Nash.
Oh, okay.
That looks like communication.
Communication.
All right, I will read the
Oh.
question. The question is, do women have a positive response to a man who uses a pickup line?
Sometimes. What? Wait, what is this? What's going on?
Do women react positively to men who use pickup lines?
Like, girl,
Girl,
it's
you
nice
must
to
be an
meet you.
angel.
Listen,
We
you
know
been
what's
running
coming
You fell
next.
from
around in
heaven.
my head
It
all day
depends.
with
It
those
depends.
shoes. You so fine.
That's right.
Well, Tomiko, what's your answer?
I think it depends. I
It-
mean, I don't really.
For me,
care,
it would be never, hell no.
Hell no. Layla, what about
I'm
you?
gonna say, is it out? Is he leaning out of a car? And what kind of car?
right?
He's leaning out of a Tesla. Suddenly, that fell from heaven is a good
I
one.
mean, you know.
So, at least, well, we have one definite answer, and it's Marla. I think she might be kind of giving you guys hints. The answer is no. For most women, pickup lines are usually a way for a man to shield his ego.
Ah,
So he can't come real. So he tries to make up some fake, and then he tried to come talking to me, and I'm like, who you talking to? And I'm
Well,
like,
each card has a further discussion, which makes it fun to play with your friends and family. What's the most ridiculous pickup line you've heard, Tomiko?
Oh goodness. Can I get some of that chocolate? I don't know.
what?
I don't know.
That was good. I thought that was good.
here's
I would've
one
liked
that here's
I
one
don't
that if you're listening again and you ever see me on the street, and I've had this many times. Where's your husband? Are you married? Yep, I'm married. Where's your husband? Because I know if you was mine, you so fine, I would never leave your side. I'm like, okay, well, you're not mine. You
And
never
bye
will
bye.
be.
I'm leaving your side.
And
Thank
goodbye.
you, honey. Layla, what's the worst
Honestly,
one you've heard?
I dudes don't pick up on me. They just don't.
It's kind of hard from the stage. Hey, you must be an angel. Excuse me, sir. Would you shut up? I'm trying to actually do a show here.
Oh no, this is the this is the best pickup line. Sing it, Latham.
Ooh. Oh no, that's not gonna work. That's not gonna work.
Latham. All right. Well, that's the Marla and Dave, the Mad Love Game.
That's a good one.
David is a thinker.
That's hilarious.
I never do anything without thinking about it first.
Marla is a feeler.
I basically wear my personality on my sleeve.
But when Marla and Dave get together, it's like a match dancing with a firecracker. This is the Marla and Dave radio show on the Universal Broadcast Network.
What's up with it?
Well, before we actually get back to the show, we're going to get into the poll question, which we kind of forgot last week to actually update you on. But this week's poll question was what, Marla?
Is a woman's choice to freeze her eggs during her most productive childbearing years all about her wanting her cake and eating it too? The answer options are no, hashtag there's no other options, or yes, hashtag they want it all. We know which one Dave put up there. I'm just saying. What's the result, Dave?
The results are 29% yes, women want it all. So that was kind of uncool, I admit. And 71% said no, there are no other options.
Well, there you go. So next week, our poll question. Honestly, next week I believe we will be doing a rerun show because it's the holidays. Which David and I are going to Mexico
Nice.
And so we will be replaying a show. But the week after that, I'll be joined, and my daughter, Drew Alexis, who's also in the chat room, will be co-hosting with me. And the poll
I'll
question,
be here.
you got to come.
I will.
You will you? Okay, good. Well, you heard Layla promised right here.
Yeah, mostly.
Layla, she asked you to be her mom too, by the way.
I'm taking her.
Co-mom. There you go.
There's a lot of bills
She's
that come
taller
with
than
that.
me, though. She's way taller than me.
Why are today's youth experiencing failure to launch? Number one, hashtag they're afraid or afraid, hashtag no jobs. So be sure that you vote on this week's poll, right? On the front of the Marla and Dave website, marlaanddave.com.
Back to the show.
This ain't your mama's radio show. Can you handle the truth? Then get ready for a real radio experience. Ladies and gentlemen, Marla and Dave.
Okay, so Tomiko, this is a lot. You know, every time we come to this point in our show, I always feel like that we need so much more time. Layla, thank you so much for opening my.
Is it over?
It's all. This is it.
It's almost over. That music says it's almost over.
What?
Now it's time
I'm glad
to
though
say
that you
goodbye.
opened my brain to say, Layla, you've given me so much as a friend through the years. Information.
And
You drive me to force myself into makeup so I can compete with your face.
Facial competition.
I don't like it. And then you
On
invite
VH1.
your model
Face
friends
Wars.
in.
Yeah, they come
And then
with
I
me
have to
every
have
night.
yeah, whatever. Anyway, Tomiko, thank you so much. And please tell everybody where to find you and more information.
Yes, more information. I am writing a book on infertility in the African American community, and
Nice.
that will be out sometime next year. I have a website, TomikoFraserHines.com. I am on Facebook. I'm on Twitter, Instagram. I am very active, and it is really me talking to you. I tough love people. I inspire. I call myself a goddess, as I said, and I'm all about motherhood, empowerment, and infertility.
Wow.
Yeah, girl, I got it.
I just.
Well, we would love to have you back. And Layla, I'm inviting you formally to join Lexi and I because David
be
will
here.
not be here.
I'll be here.
And if he comes again, he will wear a dress and the wig.
I'll be here. I'll be here.
Stop haunting my show,
You're
Dave.
going too far. But anyway.
I need to remind everybody, you guys, do you know that we have money and a limo service and we are ready to send you on a date, but you must participate in the Mad Match. Go to the Marla and Dave website, marlaanddave.com, and hit that button that says Mad Match. And what's our motto, Dave?
Our motto is, you know what? Is he or she the one? ...
Who cares?
Dating has too much pressure. It's all about having fun. Let us pay for your date, pick you up in a limo, and if you make a connection,
We will have you back on the show the next week so we can just talk about how fun it was and how compatible you may or may not have been as friends. And then we'll invite you to play kickball and kick your A on the kickball
They
field.
will do that.
and,
They will
and,
knock
and
you
next
down
time,
and hurt you.
Tomiko, we have to get into how the men's side of it, the man's perspective.
Bring my husband
of,
on. He'd
yeah,
be happy
for
to
sure.
talk about it.
For sure.
Well, there you go. We're Marla and Dave, and
Well, you know what? We still got a little time left. If that's okay with you, Marla.
Oh.
Can we talk about Layla? What do you want to?
I want to tell you guys that my Pledge Music campaign is almost fully funded.
Sweet.
It was at 97% when I left the house, and I fulfilled my first pledge today. I sang Happy Birthday to someone.
Layla, can I also say something right quick?
Yeah.
As a person who loves your music and who loves you as an artist,
Thank you.
I wanted to say that I've been following your Pledge Music campaign, and I'm impressed with your genuine gratitude. No joke.
Oh, yeah.
And I look up and I said to Dave, man, Layla is, if you make a pledge, Layla is acknowledging and thanking you for making a pledge, and I love that because you don't take anything for granted.
I really don't.
Again, Layla, how can we get that last 3%?
It's pledgemusic.com/Lalah Hathaway. And you can go to my website, which is LalahHathaway.com, or Twitter or Facebook or any of those places, and you can make a pledge and pre-order my record.
That is
Nice.
awesome. And next week, remember, Drew will be here. We call her Lexi.
Well,
She'll
week
be
after
hosting.
that.
A week after that, yeah.
Right,
I'm
and no
sorry.
matter
And
what
the next
happens,
actual show.
no matter what happens, Dave, no matter what he tells you, he is not really a gynecologist.
I will not be
so
here.
if he sees you,
and I won't try to be your gynecologist. It's a mad world.
so let's talk about
Let's
it. Thanks
talk
for
about
joining
it.
us.
See you next
See you
time.
next time.